Hi and welcome back to Powerwash Adventure, and I seem to remember I'll do the usual thing that I say at the start of each video. You will see me interacting with menus, like there's a bit of a menu thing hovering above my hand right now. There's a problem with the way the game presents its preview window, which I'm having to record this. It doesn't do the user interface elements in the preview window, so you will see me interact with things that apparently not there, so you just have to trust me that they're there. So anyway, I have recently done a news van, a robot, a truck, a forklift, a UFO. All that's left is a ghost house, which looks massive. I don't know how long this is going to take. It's pretty big. I'm like, okay, so that's an actual lot of stuff to clean. This may take a while. Am I supposed to do the whole house? Okay. I don't know if it's going to let you do it in stages. This is going to take a long time. This is going to take a very long time. I knew this was going to be quite big. So this could end up being a long ass recording. Oh, at least it's cleaning up quite nicely. I'll give it that. And actually seems to clean up pretty quickly. Okay, there's our first little bit done. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how big this is. So this, I seem to remember at the end of my previous session in here, I mentioned, or at some point in my previous session in here, I mentioned that I'd picked up another jet wash, power wash kind of game that was actually going for free, called Under Pressure, and I gave that a go the other day. The video will have already been published for that by the time this is published, and I've got to say it's actually really good. And yeah, I don't like to do the lots of comparison thing or anything like that, but it's hard not to compare similar things. I think on balance I actually preferred it to this. The feel of it and everything is about the same, I'd say, in terms of the actual cleaning and things like that. The experience of feeling like you're cleaning something is just as satisfying, but it's got some really silly, clever little extras. Things like you basically power up your jet wash and everything, and then you can use it to actually fly. So you get a mode where you can really up the pressure and it lets you fly and things like that, which is quite the experience. And then it's multiplayer as well, and you can do things like jet wash football, I suppose it would be, something like that. There's like these courts where people can, you know, there's goals at each end, and you defend a goal and try and get a ball into the goal using the jet wash. I thought it was quite clever. Right, starting to actually get some things clean here. I wonder if all the scary noises stop once you've actually cleaned the whole place. I feel like I need a plan to clean this. I actually need a plan. There needs to be a systematic approach to cleaning this. I feel like I'm just doing it randomly at the moment. It's starting to look better. I think that said Love Halloween, didn't it? We're a bit past Halloween. I'm actually recording this on Boxing Day. 26th of December, for anyone who watches this who lives in a culture that doesn't understand or do or have Boxing Day. And no, don't ask me why it's called Boxing Day, because I can't remember. Look it up on Wikipedia. Right. So this is going to take bloody ages. This is going to take so long. My Steam recently played list is getting a lot more interesting at the moment. I think I mentioned in the last time I was in here, I recently treated myself to a Steam Deck. As I said before, I ummed and ahed about one. I'd originally ordered one when they were first announced, was on the waiting list, and then sort of didn't actually take my, didn't buy it when my chance to actually buy it came up, because I decided that I was all about VR and I really didn't need, I already had a gaming PC and there was no point in having a Steam Deck as well. But when the OLED came out, I finally cracked and treated myself, and as I think I said last time I spoke about it, it's been a great buy. Well, I'm now maybe a week on from having that conversation with myself that someone may listen to at some point one day. But basically, the more I play it, the more I'm convinced it's a really great idea that I bought it. It's been so much fun, and it's got me playing lots of very different kinds of games, and I've got I'm not good at them. I'm slowly getting into the taste of it and everything, but I've kind of started developing a taste for roguelikes, just because they seem to work really well as something to play on the Steam Deck, or rather something to play in the kinds of places and times that I play on the Steam Deck. And by places, I just basically play on the sofa. But there are times where I want to play a game that's a bit more actually casual, and I don't want to be firing up the PC, I don't want to be firing up the PS5 and things like that. I just want to grab something that's, sort of tablet sized and just play something a bit casual on the sofa for like half an hour or something like that. Oh, it got stuck. That was interesting. And while I could use, say, my iPad or something like that, I've never found the tablet gaming experience that satisfying. There's some games I've played on phones and tablets and things like that that have sort of worked, but it's just not quite as satisfying, even if you pair up a controller, because then there's the whole, you need to have it sat in a certain way so you can actually play properly, and it's, I feel like something like an iPad is a device that can be turned into a gaming machine. This is looking tidier. But it's not intended for gaming, even though it's powerful enough for it and everything. So the Steam Deck actually fills that niche, and it's, the various controls for game inputs and everything, it's so over-spec'd when it comes to how you actually do your inputs. You've got your D-pad, and you've got your two sticks, and you've got all your triggers, and there's the what do you call them, touch pads kind of thing. I'm not getting on with the touch pads. I mean, they're useful for some forms of navigation, but when it comes to actually playing and everything, playing an actual game, I don't know, I haven't found a game where it feels natural to use the touchpad yet. Maybe I'll get there, maybe I'll figure something out, I'll get a feel for it. What I haven't done is, I haven't really got heavily into modding the actual controls yet and things like that. And of course the Steam Deck at the software level, I mean, is actually very moddable when it comes to tweaking the inputs and all that kind of stuff, and setting up your own input schemes or whatever you call it. I haven't really got into that yet. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, it's that. So it could well be that, how am I going to do this? It doesn't even reach. Ah, it does if I go that, if I do that. Ah, haha. Okay, so actually pushing it out makes it reach so much further. So I finally answered that question. Okay, that's worth knowing. I didn't think that just popping it out that little bit would make that much difference. What was the thing I was saying? Lost track of what I was saying. Damn it. So yeah, I was waffling on about playing games on the Steam Deck and everything. So going back a few minutes, I was saying that I was starting to get into the more roguelike genres. There's definitely a firm favourite of mine right now is Brotato, which is just I think I may have mentioned it last time, but it's really weird that it's a massively frantic game, and yet I find it actually really chill to play. It's like casual and chill because you don't have to really work on the inputs. You can almost get into this sort of meditative state while you're playing it, which I quite like. So it's also one of those games which is one tending to find it, I think, I mentioned before, there's times where you're putting something on to cook for dinner and it's going to take 40 minutes or something like that. So you just want to play a game or two of something that's not going to need too much thought, too much involvement. You just want to blast away at something muckabout. And actually, Brotato's proving very, very perfect for that. Very perfect, you know what I mean? Trying to concentrate on doing this and talk at the same time is quite tricky. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. Another one, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, that I've got into is Vampire Survivors, which again I'm not terribly good at, but I'm actually really enjoying for the same kinds of reasons. I can pick it up and go for a blast, and it's not necessarily a very long game. Going back to Brotato, I'd played about 6.5 hours worth over the course of like 2 weeks or whatever, and finally won a run. So actually for anyone who doesn't know it, you win a run by basically surviving 20 waves, I suppose, is how you term it. And I actually finally did that 2 days ago, I think it was it Christmas Eve? I actually finally managed that, which felt like a real achievement. I was actually really pleased with myself. I'm actually quite hyped up doing it as well. It was really fun from that point of view. God, this is so much work. This is ridiculous. And I got this horrible feeling that it's going to take me as long again to go around and sweep up all the bits I've missed. I was hoping that this would be one section. I'm a bit worried about this bit here. It's like, oh no, I think that's getting it. Go away. Just that little lip there. This is actually quite a good stretching exercise for me. Go away. I've got to be careful leaning back so much in VR. This isn't so bad. I thought this was going to be really tricky because I wasn't sure how it was going to reach all the way up there. But yeah, it definitely goes a lot further. when you stretch it out. Ah, no, I can't reach up there. Okay, so there's still a limit. Oh, I may not be able to finish this. Oh. It kind of gave me it. That's interesting. So, I'm actually going to have to try and steady myself so I can lean back enough. I can't get much higher than that. So I don't know how I'm going to get that bit. Mate, can I do it from going up here? No, that's not going to get me close enough, is it? That's going to be interesting. So what else have I been doing? What else have I been up to? Yesterday was obviously Christmas Day. Had a fairly quiet day. Went out and did a 10k run and stuff. Played some games and things. It's a nice quiet one for me. I'm stuck on these things. There we go. Also watched the new Doctor Who. And I gotta say, I actually really enjoyed it. I kind of feel like I got fed up of Russell T Davies's stories back in the day. And when Moffat took over, I was very much into the Moffat stuff for quite a while and everything. I think I started getting a little bit fed up of the Moffat era. He sort of started disappearing up his own backside with some of his stories and things, but you know, it was okay, I could handle it. By the Chibnall era, I just could not get on with. And I actually stopped watching. I think I watched all of the I've forgotten his name. Scottish chap who was in the thick of it. Why have I forgotten his name? I always forget his name. I think I watched all of his Doctor episodes, but like, he was great and he had some really terrible stories. And then I started watching the Jodie Doctor, and again, I thought she was great as the Doctor. And I thought she got dealt some really bad stories. You know, if they worked for anyone else, that's great. It did not work for me at all. And I actually stopped watching. I stopped caring, which is surprising because I love Doctor Who. I watched Doctor Who lots as a kid. The first Doctor I ever remember watching is John Pertwee, but the Doctor I really got into, especially if you're British and you were into this kind of thing, there's this concept of your Doctor, the Doctor that really had an impression on you and everything. And Tom Baker was mine. I remember watching Pertwee when he was the Doctor, but I think it was probably towards the end of his time. So yeah, Tom Baker is the one I always remember. He's the one I always think of as my Doctor. So yeah, when the new Doctor Who started, I was there for it. I really enjoyed it, but it ended up losing me. And if the lead up to the Christmas specials is anything to go by, and if the actual Christmas special itself is anything to go by, I think I'm going to enjoy this new series, because it's just silly enough and just ridiculous enough, and yeah, just the right amount of camp and things like that. I'm there for that. That's great, because I've liked how Doctor Who has got a bit more serious and has had some fairly serious stories and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. I've really enjoyed and appreciated covering some, fairly serious subjects, but in a way that basically winds up the sorts of people who would be upset about those subjects being covered and so on and so forth. It's been great for that kind of thing. But I feel the whole kind of taking the Doctor's own story seriously thing got a bit out of hand. It became too much about the Doctor, if that makes sense. And not enough just like going out and having ridiculous adventures. And it feels like we're kind of back there in the going out and just having ridiculous adventures thing. So I'm hopeful for that. It needs a bunch of that. God, this is going to take ages. But I'm determined to do it now. I'm committed. I wasn't actually sure if I was going to actually play or record anything today. I actually started doing some coding this morning, working on a new personal project. I've been developing a terminal-based client for Pinboard, a bookmarking service, which I use quite heavily, and I've been wanting this app for a while, so I actually finally got around to writing it over the last couple of months in my spare time, and I made a big push during this winter break to really finish it off and get it into a really good working state, and I have. It's working really well. So it's not exactly in maintenance mode now, but it works well enough that I can get stuff done now. I can just add new features at my leisure. And then while I was out on my run yesterday, I had an idea for another thing that I've been wanting to write for a while, and I was mulling it over and thinking about how it would work and how I'd make it look and stuff like that, and also what its name would be. So the name is a terrible pun and things like that, and I'm not going to say anything yet because it may or may not actually end up working out. Just prototyping some ideas for it at the moment. So yeah, I started working on that this morning, and then thought, if I keep doing that, I'm going to lose the whole data coding, which isn't a terrible thing, but sometimes you just need a break from this stuff. So I thought, right, I'll do a couple of hours of coding on that, and then I'm going to play some VR. So I fired up the PC, when I'd done that, made myself a coffee, fired up the PC, had a look at what was up for playing next, and I was nearly going to go in and play Zona and Zona Project X, but then I saw that this was sort of at the bottom of the list of things that I've been playing, as if you were to sort by most recently played. In terms of the games that were on current rotation, this was at the bottom. So I thought, I should go in and do this. I'd sort of half forgotten that it was this house that needed cleaning. I probably wouldn't have started this knowing the commitment in time that was going to be involved. For a moment then I was very aware of the fact that I was near the edge of the roof. I was actually feeling like I was going to fall off. Oh my God, I got like window frames that are 93% done and things like that. Some of these window frames are going to be impossible. I don't see how I can actually access all of this house. Oh, lost tracking. There we go. You can't see it, but I'm just using I'm just using on the gun. There's a UI element that tells you how much of the thing you're pointing at you've cleaned. So I was just checking the window glass, okay, I've done that whole window. Got 100% on that. Only 68% on this wall. Can I get it all? I can definitely reach. It does seem like the water gets a bit more spread out and is a bit less effective the further away it is from you, which is to be expected. Again, it's making me wonder how I'm going to actually do the whole building. So far, I found that the devs have definitely thought about how the access will work, and there's been things nearby. Have I done the wall? Okay, I've got the front wall. There's been stuff nearby that's let you get it all. But I'm a bit worried about some of these bits. Right, that's 100%, that's 100%. I think we're like 100% all the way around here. Yeah, we are. Do I have to clean that? No, I don't have to clean that, that's good. Dear God, there's so much to it. Go away. You could help. Why can't you help? Off on a complete tangent again, something I noticed the other day that went straight on my wish list. I can't even remember how I stumbled on it actually, but I noticed that there is in the works, well in the works now by the looks of things, a standalone version of gunman contracts. I imagine anyone who happens to be watching this will know it, but Gunman Contracts is a pair of very excellent add-ons for Half-Life Alyx, workshop maps or whatever, and they are essentially a John Wick simulator in a really good way. And I played through those two maps a few times. I've recorded and live streamed and stuff like that. Thoroughly enjoy it. And yeah, it's really exciting to see that there's a standalone version of the game coming. So that was an instant wish list, and that will be an instant buy. There's no getting away from that. I'll be instantly buying that. Watching the video, it's the preview video, promo video, I suppose. It's quite funny how very obviously it leans into being a John Wick simulator, because there's at least one bit of the map which is those. Do you know, I don't actually know what they are, but it's obviously a fairly famous landmark, I imagine. But the stairs that were used towards the end of John Wick 4, and that's totally a map, because, I mean, yeah, it seems like it's a real place, right? I imagined it was a real place. I imagine for some people in the know it's quite an iconic place and all that kind of stuff. So I suspect it's, they can use that imagery, they can use that place for the game, as it were, without any worries, because it's not really infringing on anyone's IP. because it's just a real world place, which I think is incredibly clever, and it's going to be so much fun. So I'm very impatient to try that out. I'll be getting that as soon as it's available. I'll be playing the hell out of that. No question. God, I wish I had a drink to hand now. I do have a can of Iron Brew sat on my sofa side table. I don't want to lean back and try and get it at the moment. I wish it was not hand. It's taking ages. Do you know, if I was doing this for real, I'd be stopping for a drink and stopping for a snack maybe. I'd probably do half of it and have some lunch and then do the rest of it. It's ridiculous the work we make for ourselves in VR. 56%. Ah, okay. So it's the whole wall. I was hoping this lower part would be a section in its own right. Trying to get these bits of dirt just in that nook there. So it does seem that even though you can't see something, you know, like the top of this lip here, as long as you get the water close enough, seems like it does hit it, because I think I just completed that window frame. Yeah, I completed that window frame even though I can't see the top of it. So it's these undersides up at the apex that are going to be, if I finish this house, that's going to be the reason. I need to be able to fly. Oh, I need to brace myself again. I basically just stood here in my living room with a computer strapped to my face, staring at the ceiling with one hand above me for no good reason whatsoever. The things we do in VR are ridiculous. This is where I get to a point and then realise I've got to go and do the whole of the inside as well, isn't it? That would be so annoying and actually a really impressive troll as well. It's all clean. It looks like it's all clean yet. Let's get this door. How are we looking? It's looking pretty good. There's still so much to do. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? In even other news, because basically what I do when I'm playing this game now is just like talk about random stuff, it seems. I'm still playing through Cyberpunk 2077. I think I basically hit the story's end last night. I think. There's still, I've been playing for a couple of hours. I did stream it. I've been streaming every bit of my gameplay of it. I'll try and not mention too much, because on the off chance of spoilers for anyone who happens to catch this and hasn't played Cyberpunk 2077 yet, and I don't want to spoil it for them, but hopefully it's not a spoiler. But like, I finished what I assumed was the last mission of the main story, and it kind of left me without a conclusion. Now there's still something I need to do, and I had to finish because I'd been playing for a couple of hours last night and really needed a break. But it left me in a really... I came away from it feeling really quite let down and a little bit annoyed at the game. And maybe incorrectly. Maybe I just need to keep going and all will be revealed. But like, suddenly I lost all of my inventory and all of my money was removed from me. So I got no inventory, none of my weapons, none of my clothing, all that kind of stuff, and I'm playing flat broke, which I'll keep going and do this next thing that it wants me to do, but with no explanation. That was actually really frustrating and a real bummer, actually, because I'd just come out of this mission that was really cool to play. I'd taken on a character that I thought I was going to struggle against, but having spent the last week or so really working on improving the stats of my character and all that kind of stuff, I think I'd actually done a good job of beefing myself up. And so I beat this enemy first time, which astonished me, which, you know, felt really good for someone who's not a hardcore gamer, more of a casual gamer for sure. I would never deny that. That felt like a real win. Yeah, I was like actually pleased with myself. I was impressed with myself. So I came out of all of that, having finished this mission, made an important decision. You know, chose from these options that I was being given, which obviously massively impacts the conclusion of the game, I would assume, I would hope. I think I made the choice that is right for me and that I want for my character, that I want for V. Yeah, so all that kind of stuff, that was like really satisfying and really enjoyable. And then suddenly I find myself missing all my inventory and all this kind of stuff and everything with no obvious explanation. And that was a real bummer. I actually felt really let down and bummed out by it, which I feel was a really bad choice on the game's part. It's like a really weird thing to do to the player. I'm happy with the idea that I lose my inventory and all this kind of stuff, given the choice I made. If it made it clear why that was happening, I'd accept the decision, but there's just nothing to tell me why it's happened. But as I say, that happened at a point where I have another thing that I have to do, but it wasn't necessary that I immediately did it. Yeah, I could save the game and carry on and stuff later. So I'll be looking into that this evening. I'll be playing that next bit this evening, and hopefully that will reveal what's going on. Hopefully that will make it make sense. I'm hoping so anyway, because otherwise it's sort of disappointing. I'm trying to get the window frame 84%. Got the window frame. Yeah, okay, got that window. Got that window. Ah, my arm aches from just pointing up quite so much. It's a good workout. But that sort of annoyance / disappointment aside, I am still really glad I bought the game. I'm still really glad I played it. I feel like I'm playing something, or have played something, as important and as important as and as iconic as GTA 5 or Death Stranding or something like that. It feels like I've played a game that has a story that I needed to experience, and I would have been missing out on developments in gaming and important stories that have been told in gaming if I hadn't done that. So I'm glad I did that. I get the impression that there's actually many more outcomes of the story in Cyberpunk than there are in, say, GTA 5. In comparison to Cyberpunk, GTA 5 seems a lot more linear. I mean, I recognise there's, 4 outcomes at the end of the game? And I played GTA 5 through, 3 or 4 times, and I've always chosen the same ending. I've always chosen the ending where everyone lives. Well, the 3 main characters live. I just can't bring myself to kill any of the main characters off. So I don't know how that actually works. I don't know what the outcome of that is, other than obviously the character dies. Do you let me up there, or do I have to go around? I think I've got to climb up the tree. But I get the impression with Cyberpunk 2077 that there's many more permutations. Ah, shit. Can just do that. No. I'm trying to get up there. It won't let me TP up there. I'm gonna have to do it off this tree. So as of the time of recording this, I don't think I've actually hit the actual end game just yet. Just because I would have expected some sort of credits or something like that, or something to make it clear. And as I say, there is still this thing that I have to do. But it's taken me about 45 hours to get to this point. I could have done it quicker, but I took some time out to do side missions and increase my funds and all this kind of stuff, and get better powered and all that kind of thing. So, is that the chimney complete? Is the chimney complete? I thought there was still some more to do on the front. So I suspect I could have done it quicker, but it's felt like a very doable pace. I've played maybe on average 2 hours a day over the last 2 weeks or so. Some days a bit more. I mean, I started it before I started my winter break, but I played it, I think, every day bar one while I've been on this break. And where I was going with that is, it would be interesting to see what the other outcomes potentially could be, because I feel like I've made some decisions along the way. I mean, obviously at the start there's the choice of the 3 different starting positions, and I chose being part of the corporations, so I imagine that has some impact on the outcome and everything. I have made various choices along the way that seemed like they were really important to where the game would end up. Although the thing that I do wonder is, it seems like the actual end game, or the core choice, the key choice, the important choice at the end, seemed like a bit of a binary outcome. And maybe your decisions only affect the route you take to get to that binary choice. That I don't know. Once I've properly finished, I will do some reading. But yeah, where I'm going with that is, I'd love to see what some of the other routes through are, but I don't know that I want to spend another 40 hours finding out, kind of thing. Oh, I dread to think how long I've been playing already. I'm fairly sure I've done one or two sessions in here that have been like 20 minutes tops. This feels like it's going to be like a 90-minute epic or something like that. Can I take a more systematic approach to this? Can I get a wider spread? Am I better off doing it like... Maybe I'm better off having it closed while I'm close. But yeah, I've enjoyed the game. Oops, I accidentally teleported there. It feels like it's been a really rewarding play. I feel like I'm getting close to the end. I don't know how much I'll keep playing it once I finish the game. It'll be interesting to see if it offers as much onward playability as GTA 5, for example, because yeah, I mean, after finishing that, I still kept going for hours and hours and hours and hours, just causing mayhem and having fun and mucking about. Kind of did the same in Just Cause 3. I mean, my introduction to the Just Cause universe was Just Cause 2, but I think I only ever played 2 or 3 missions in that. All I ever really did was just like dash around and cause mayhem and blow stuff up, and I probably spent as much time, if not more time, in the multiplayer mod than I did in the actual base game. I used to have some real fun with that with my son, for example. Just Cause 3, I did play through the actual whole story. I don't remember it taking very long, maybe about 20 hours, if that, I can't remember. And then I can't remember how much time I've got in it, but I feel I probably spent more time beyond the main story, just again blowing stuff up, having fun, creating mayhem, being silly, than I did actually playing the main story. I keep saying that. Just Cause 4, I actually haven't finished the story. I started playing that, I was kind of into it, but it's sort of... It was as good as Just Cause 3 in terms of the actual experience of playing it and things like that. But, I don't know, it felt a bit too more of the same. It almost felt like... Because I played... did I play all the DLCs for Just Cause 3? I certainly own them all. I played most of them all the way through, the extra little bits of story they added. I think I may have played all the DLCs. Because I bought the, was it like Season Pass or something like that, I think. So every time the new one dropped, I got it and played it. So I think I played all of that as well. But like with Just Cause 4, it almost felt like it was just a very big DLC for Just Cause 3. It didn't quite feel like it. added anything really new. I mean, I know there was the whole tornado mechanic and things like that. But yeah, I never actually finished the game there. That was finished. I was actually thinking, I created an account on how long to beat a year or two back, I think, and imported my games and things like that, and then sort of, I think I updated it for a week or two, and then lost the urge go away, or just sort of forgot about it. I should go back. I did log in again, was it yesterday or the day before, and tried, I think I actually successfully re-imported. I should try and properly categorize all my, from Steam I should say, I should try and properly categorize all that again, and try and do a proper job of saying what games I'm going to play, what games I have played, what games are just mucking about, all that kind of thing. It'd be interesting to get a grip on what games in my Steam library I've actually completed and things like that. I have a ridiculous, I mean, I imagine there's plenty of people would look at my 300 and odd games and go, yeah, rookie numbers. But I do have, for a casual game, I feel, a ridiculous number of games in my Steam library. The vast majority of them are unplayed, although the vast majority of them have turned up as part of Humble Bundles and stuff like that. And I felt, oh, I may get around to it one day. Like, I think I own, excluding the Lego Star Wars stuff, I think I own pretty much every Star Wars game there is on Steam. Just because there's been a couple of times there's been a Star Wars Humble Bundle, and like, how can I not buy that? And there's been one or two of the games that I've actually wanted to play, although I mucked about in for half an hour maybe and then never really played it much more. Things like X-Wing Simulator, TIE Fighter Simulator, or whatever they're called, I've forgotten, because I played the heck out of them back in the day when they first came out, and so having them available again and all was in my Steam library and everything just seemed like a no-brainer. But like, yeah, I've got all those Star Wars games and never played the vast majority of them, just because, like, well, they came with the set. Why is that not cleaning? That's a concern. You won't let me, I'm going to assume okay, it's part of the roof. It looks like I can't clean that bit, or it looks like just part of the texture, so I'm going to assume that's just the texture thing. Can I get on the roof? Come on, let me up. Oh, it's not letting me up on the roof. Ah, okay. I was hoping I could get up. Do you know, I haven't really paid attention to what these different ones would... Ah, ha ha ha. That might help me get some of the tricky spots. Maybe that will go further. Right, I'll go for the widest one. I haven't been paying attention to those. So maybe those really tricky bits I still need to get. That's going to be the way to do it. This is actually going to be really satisfying when I get to the end of it. Damn, this has been a massive commitment. Kind of ready for my lunch now. What time is it? Oh my god. It's 10 to 12. I'm sure I started this at 10 to 11, maybe even a bit sooner than that. I must have been going an hour by the time I'm saying this. Look at the timestamp, how close am I? Because of course I don't know, I didn't make a note of exactly when I started playing, but I'm estimating an hour in now. And still not finished. Can I get into that corner? I don't know if I can. It's just going to be an issue. Can't leave this unfinished. I also don't know if it saves your state as well. Like, if you exit, does that go further? I think that goes further. It does, okay. So that's the solution, I think. Forgetting that last bit. So yeah, I don't know if it saves you cleaning state. Which is potentially an issue. Apparently 61% of this roof. So I'm hoping that means it's the other side that I need to do. But can I can just walk around here. Okay. Okay, the percentage is definitely climbing up. I really wish you could see it. So a slightly disappointing part of this game is that you don't see that UI. It won't let me up on the roof. I wish it would let me up on this bit so I could walk around it. It's actually kind of dark here as well. So it's a little harder to see where I've been. Right, let's try and be methodical about this. Doing my best. Try and clean good sections rather than just randomly wave my hand around. Bouncing around a little bit. I'm obviously right on the apex of the roof that I'm stood on, and it's throwing the physics off a little bit. Trying to get that gutter. See, interestingly, this seems to be cleaning up better here. So I am now wondering, is that a texture glitch on the other side? Or just a dark bit of texture? Or is there a bit that I've missed that I can't get? So dark in this bit, it's hard to actually see if I'm hitting it or not, especially given that the water obviously makes the bit you're cleaning dark as well. Okay. So I've actually really been enjoying streaming off the PS5 while playing Cyberpunk 2077. Kind of got into the habit of it. Now it's going to be Oh, it just gave me the whole of the roof. Okay. I think it took pity on me. I think it's... maybe it's coded so that once you're close enough on one of those big bits, it gives you the rest of it. Not too sure. So yeah, I've actually been really enjoying streaming now. My time and ability to actually stream during the work week and stuff like that is a little diminished, just because I tend to have to get up reasonably early in the morning to commute into Edinburgh and stuff like that. So I try not to stay up too late. I also try not to be doing massively brain stimulating type things too late. You know, good sleep hygiene and all that. But I'd quite like to keep up streaming to YouTube. I'm enjoying streaming to YouTube way more than I ever enjoyed trying to stream on Twitch as well. I don't know why, it just feels more natural. It's where I used to stream anyway. When I was streaming a lot of VR stuff, I'd just stream to YouTube anyway. So I think I've kind of given up on the streaming to Twitch and then downloading the video and uploading it to YouTube. It kind of, I can't be bothered. And from a practical point of view, I have almost 0 subs on Twitch, which is obviously down to not really using it that much. That's all on me. But because I've put the work in, so front, when I say put the work in, I'm not doing any of this to build an audience. I'm doing this because I just like playing games and uploading them. And the audience that I do have is just really nice people who have subscribed to me, and I am grateful. But I have more of an audience here, so there's more people are going to see when I'm going live, and I'm more likely to drop in and say hi. So it just naturally follows that streaming here connects better. I say here, obviously I mean on YouTube, because that's where you'll be watching this. When I stream to YouTube, it means I'm going to connect better with the people who like my own particular approach to mucking about in games anyway, which is like generally old dude talking to himself. Right, I've got loads of window frames to do. What else? I'm almost complete. What's the worst thing? So it's mostly windows I'm missing. I've got to get windows. So I'm going to have to go around and check all the windows. Right, that window glass is good, that window glass is good. Ah, there we go. I realised I said you wouldn't have seen why I was saying it's because I could see that I hadn't got all the glass for this window. 74%, I don't know how I'm going to get the rest of that, given it's behind these shutters and I can't actually see where it's dirty. That would be really annoying. There's dirt behind there. Oh, I see. Oh my god. It's so annoying. That's almost impossible to get. Okay, I got 98% there. And this glass is 87%, 88. Oh, why would they put dirt on the glass behind these shutters? I can't take those off, can I? Let's try this. I don't know if that's making any difference. It's actually quite hard to... there's obviously the physics going on. Hey, got it. Right, so that's at 98%, so there's a little bit missing in here. I just got it. Did I get it? Yeah, I got it. So I just had to do that on spec, basically. So that glass is 100, that glass is 100. The window frame isn't quite there. Right, got that window frame. Glass, what about the frame? Give me the frame. It's not telling me if I got the frame or not. We'll have to assume that one's okay. Right, this one's probably going to be a problem. Yeah, glass is 90%. There we go, that's 100. This is 93%, this bit of glass. That's 100. That's 100. Got that. What else have I got to get? Chimney cap, window. So I got 2 window frames that are fully done, and there's a window frame that isn't fully done. That is. That one, I think, has got bits. Right, I think just the chimney cap. Right, I need to get back up there. I can... Damn it! Excuse me. Oh my god. I'm just going to upvote that because that was actually fun. That's it. Let's just take a little wander around for a moment and really appreciate how clean that looks. God, that was a hell of a job. Easily the biggest one I've done so far in here. Excuse me, I'm just going to cough again. And it's now 5 past midday. So I am so ready for my lunch. That was actually fun, and this continues to be satisfying. I'm sure as I say, I will say, on balance, I do feel Under Pressure has the edge, and it's actually free. This seems a little undercooked, and I can't remember what I paid for it. It wasn't expensive, and I'm hopeful that they'll keep doing some changes to this and improve it. I'm just going to check the shop. I think I've got everything I can buy in the shop now. You can't see what I'm doing as usual. Yeah, I bought everything for that. I bought everything for that, so I can't buy anything. So I've exhausted that. I'm now looking at the main story, and that's it. I've exhausted the main story. So next up is the graffiti level, which I may look at actually. There's a dream level, which you can't see it, but again, it's like this slightly dodgy, objectifying 2 young women covered in mud thing. Not thrilled about that. And then there's a thing after it called Redemption, which is locked. So I may do that, the first one off camera just to unlock the next one, and then we'll see. And then we've got a thing called the Lab, which is the spaceship, which looks like it's massive. It's got 80 stars. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Oh, maybe that's just how many stars I've got. I've just noticed, again, you can't see it, but there's a percentage figure on how much inside a water droplet. So I'm actually guessing that maybe if I went in and cleaned something and didn't finish it, I could come back and finish it off. That might be worth trying. I may do that. I may test that with something. That spaceship looks like it'll be even, I keep saying it, you can't see it, but the spaceship looks even bigger than the house that I did, much bigger than the house I did. So that may be some, if it lets you do the, if it lets you do the cleaning in multiple sessions, then that may be a multiple session one. Anyway, I'm done here. I definitely need some lunch, and you can probably hear it, but my throat's got really dry as well from doing this for like an hour and talking non-stop. So definitely need an iron brew as well. So from this dip into Powerwash Adventure, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.